Welcome to SC Biz TV. I'm Scott Warofka, Associate Publisher for SC Biz News. Thank you for joining us for another episode of 10 Questions With. Today, I'm fortunate to sit down and enjoy 10 questions, maybe more, but 10 questions with Ry Hudnall from Hudnall Capital Advisors. Ry, thanks for carving out some time to join us.
It is a pleasure, absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed getting to know you and been looking forward to this, so thank you. Yeah.
Likewise, we've had it on our calendar for a little bit, so I'm excited at the opportunity to finally speak. So let's start off with what is the biggest thing. I know that you're a seasoned veteran. You've been doing this for a while. Talk to me about what led to Hudnall Capital Advisors.
Yeah, man, that's a loaded question. I'd say, how much time do you have? I would tell you, so I've always, as a kid, I had a real passion for just, doing for myself. I mean, listen, I was the kid that didn't have to be asked to mow the grass because I knew that if I did that, it was kind of going to get some type of recognition. So call it shallow, at the time, I just wanted that attaboy,
Yeah.
And so that led to me pushing a lawnmower around the neighborhood,
Sure.
door to door. Hey, can I mow your grass? Can I mow your grass? So I think that was like early entrepreneurialism before I really knew it.
Okay.
And so I always kind of had that. I loved the idea that you could connect the dot between effort and reward, right? I was a touring musician for many years, professional drummer.
Now this is breaking. I
This
didn't
is
know
good.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Okay, tell us more about that.
Yeah. So passion for music, always have. I started playing the drums when I was like 2 years old, and so that was something that I always did. Just whether I was banging on pots or pans, or actually eventually, my parents bit the bullet and bought me a drum set. Right.
Wow.
I know, right? And I was in the basement, right? She had to flick the lights and say, "Time to come upstairs," But it was so playing a band was really cool because I got to see the business side of the music industry.
Okay.
I actually thought that I would do that professionally for a long time. I realized pretty quickly that there was a few things. One, it was going to hurt my body, right? Physically, it's a tough biz.
Yeah.
You start every night at 11 p.m. You finish, and then so that was rough. And then also kind of got wise that there was we start to look at security and long-term security. It wasn't the best. I had a really good kind of, I call it a career. It was a job that turned into a career while I was when I wasn't playing in the band, I was working for this guy locally here in Charleston who was really my first mentor.
Okay.
And he was an extraordinary entrepreneur. Young guy, started something from nothing, didn't really come from a big, huge, wealthy background or anything like that. And so he inspired me to be an entrepreneur, but the whole time I was working for him. So I kind of reached this point where I knew I would never be the owner of that company, even though I really valued the company. And so it was really kind of one of these things. He molded me into wanting to be kind of like him.
Sure.
In terms of, build. And so, I didn't have any money in the bank. So I wanted to start in an industry that would kind of be entrepreneurial, where I could go back to tying that effort to the result, and so I had several people in my life, whether it was parents, friends, or, people that just knew me well, said, "Hey, you should think about getting into some type of sales." And so that's what I did. And I had my resume out there, and I got called by a life insurance company. And at the time, nothing sexy about life insurance. I was valuable. Yeah. As a young man, I wanted to admit I was anything but a life insurance agent, just that was more pride, I think, messing with me. But that's what got me into the business. And I realized that I was talking to people about their wealth and protecting their wealth.
Okay.
And I found myself in a really good market in the life insurance business, which led me to get more licenses and kind of build into the natural progression. If you're going to be talking with people about wealth, why not be more than just their insurance guy?
Yeah.
And so that was good. And I was, super back to that, competitive drive. I was super motivated to be the best at it. I've always said I'm not the smartest man in the room, but I will surround myself with the smartest people in the room, or try to anyway. And I had some success early, and that led me into a leadership role. And that was where my real passion for helping others, as cliche as it sounds. I mean, listen, I love working with clients, but at the same time, to watch somebody go for what happened to me, right? And my life changed as a result of this business.
Sure.
And to be able to have that impact on others. So that was really kind of what got me into the first stage of what prompted Hudnall Capital Advisors. So fast forward, I ended up as the owner, CEO of a pretty large wealth management firm based here in Charleston. We had offices all over South Carolina and even extended. We had a small office in California and one in Arizona, but it was a franchise. And again, nothing against the franchise model at all, but at the end of the day, my analogy for franchises is, people hear franchise first of all, and I know for me, I thought about fast food restaurant or something like that, franchise.
Yeah.
So you don't really think about a franchise in the wealth management space, but to bring that full circle, imagine if you owned a McDonald's,
Okay.
but you were really passionate about making curly French fries.
That's a
You
no-no.
can't do it,
No.
but you own it,
Right.
and it's probably generating a good living,
Sure.
but you can't do what you really want to do.
Gotcha.
And so after about 12 years as the owner, CEO of that firm, I was fortunate to, and I use very big air quotes here, retire in November of 24, and was able to start this passion. This has been on my mind forever.
Yeah.
And the longer that I did it in my prior world, which by the way was a great world, let me be very clear. Nothing, I mean, it was why I'm here,
How do
frankly.
you cut your teeth?
I got my teeth, and it was great to have that corporate support of
Right.
the corporate entity. But I just noticed over the years it got a little less aligned with what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And call me selfish, but I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. And because of that opportunity, I was fortunate enough to start Hudnall Capital. I had some money, able to do it patiently, and here we are. The vision is really simple, and that's to disrupt the industry. I will tell you that people might hear that and they think, okay, the ego on this guy. That is far from it. Like I said, I just bring really smart people around me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not the smartest, but I will out dream anybody.
Well, and obviously that's apparent from, taking this as you just did from your youth, and
Yeah.
those dreams kept pushing you forward, and now
Yeah,
seeing those dreams come to fruition is
That's right.
benefiting your clients.
that's right. Well, and listen, a visionary, there's a lot of positive qualities about being a visionary. There's some negatives too. Sometimes I find myself, firing before I aim. That happens.
It does.
But again, as long as we got people around me to say, "Hey, right, chill out," chill out. Let's aim first. And so, but it's helped me far more than it's hurt me, right? So there's certainly been times where I was kind of like, "Ooh, that was a little quick, maybe a little spontaneous." But at the end of the day, it's the positives have far outweighed the negatives, no doubt. So here we are.
So you talked a little bit about that vision.
Yeah.
And you and I have spoken before, so
Yeah.
shared a little bit of that with me. Talk to us a little bit more about what vision is pushing Hudnall Capital Advisors,
so
every day.
It might kind of catch people off guard because it's very easy. Some of the way that I lead this company might be considered a little bit woo woo. I would shy away from that in my earlier life, just being a little bit more about the feeling part of what we do and kind of that whole visionary dream big
Right.
thing. But now I'm very transparent about it. I've just absolutely owned it, wrap my arms around it, nothing, no shame,
This is me.
as it might not be a fit for everybody,
Yeah.
but here we are. And so, yeah, the vision really it's rooted in three things, really. The first one is the one that's kind of outside the box, especially wealth management. That is that I think we just lead with love. Lead with love. You don't hear the words love and business in the same conversation very often, especially not in our business. And I would argue that our business is one that you should have the word love in a lot more. So kind of lead with love. And I look around and I can't take credit for this. Isn't like a unique Ry Hudnall thought, but after surrounding myself with big dreamers, big thinkers, and then watching coaches of radically successful teams, right? The one thing they all have in common is that they love each other, right? They love each other, and that love gets to a culture. So you could have a team full of the best players in the world, but if they don't love each other, it's not really a team. They're not moving forward, right? So, and I've seen just example after example of that. So lead with love is number one. The second piece is something that's a direct reflection of what I felt has been missing, and that's what I call radical transparency.
That's what we're going to dive to.
Yeah, radical transparency. I think our industry, listen, the more information there is, the more confusing things get. I think, the intent of putting information out for people is to let them be more educated and have information before they go down a path of maybe
We all want
financial
to
planning.
decide for ourselves. We're doing
Especially now.
research. Yeah, yeah,
Especially now. So having said that, like a lot gets lost.
sure.
And the number of, and there's two audiences that I serve, right? So ultimately the client is the end user, if you will,
Yeah.
our goal.
Right.
But I have, between my vision and the client, we've got these advisors.
Okay.
So I'm coaching advisors, and the advisors are part of this love, right? This family.
Absolutely.
And there's then a lack of transparency between leadership and advisors.
In other,
Yeah, just in the industry, I believe. And again, I don't think it's intentional. I don't think anybody's maliciously out there trying to lie or mislead. I don't believe that at all. But I do believe that just by virtue of business kind of becoming kind of cutthroat, and you see it. Unfortunately, kind of, we've gone through a period of time now where it becomes kind of okay if you stab someone in the back if you make a buck.
yeah,
To me, that just seems odd.
yeah,
And I'm not immune to it. I've probably been guilty of that.
Sure.
So again, it's a reflection on what I've seen in myself that I didn't like, but also in the industry, and now having the total control of how I want our firm to show up.
Yeah.
It's all about transparency. So that is kind of how do we show transparency? So it's one thing to say it.
yeah.
It's another thing to do it.
Well,
So
using radical is also obviously you're making it very.
it's got to be
yourself out.
got to be big.
Weird.
Yeah. You got to get, like really almost disarming transparency. So, so clients are kind of shocked when we sit down with them and we tell them that we won't complete a plan or execute a strategy until they know exactly and can tell us back how we're going to get paid.
I have to imagine when you're meeting with someone who has experience with someone else in the past that
Yeah.
love and radical transparency so far of the two of the three has to just blow people's minds.
Well, it does. It does. And again, it's not for everybody. Some people want that business, just like
Sure.
give it to,
Transactional.
transactional, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I will tell you, for me, there is something wrong with it. So it's personal preference here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that transparency piece, give you a great example. Just this week, 2 days ago, we had a late meeting. We were in our office and we're getting to the point where we're going to execute some strategies. And I said, so I want you to know, here's how we're going to get paid. And they were just like, what? And most people have an idea of how their advisor is going to get paid, whether it's a percentage of assets or something like that. But there's a lot of stuff that goes in the back end that they don't really know. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'd argue 7 or 8 out of 10 people get their investment statements and either throw them away or file them away.
Yes.
If they come in the mail, they probably throw them away because they know they can get them online, right? But they're not really looking in and looking down the list and seeing,
Sure.
okay, there's the advisory fee, but then there's also this fund fee, then there's this management, there's a lot of other things, and it adds up.
It does.
So, and honestly, it's not as much about like, here's the amount of money we're going to get paid. It's about the statement that it makes in just by virtue of telling them.
Absolutely.
So again, it's not about the dollar figure as much as it is just to let them know that
Up front,
here's where we are. And another thing that we always say is, like, if it feels like we're selling something, a product or something, then we're not really doing a good job.
Right.
So that's another thing. But let's be honest, we're all in sales. You're in sales, I'm in sales.
Absolutely.
We're all selling something of some type.
Without a doubt.
But if it feels like it's for our benefit, and that's something another in the industry, and frankly, regulation has gotten a hold of this in a good way, because there's a lot of advisors that are forced to sell certain companies' products,
Sure.
and in order to receive certain benefits.
Meet quotas, do things.
You're right, and that's sales. It is sales, but at the same time, that's the beauty of this purely independent model, is that there's nobody telling, I've got corporate partners, obviously manufacturers of products and investment, clearing firms and things like that, but they don't give me numbers that I have to hit. The only numbers that I have to hit are the ones that I come up with. So it just creates a little bit more of a real approach and makes people feel more comfortable. And I've got real examples of this. Again, the other night, the husband it was a couple, they're kind of entering the retirement years, and he said, well, you've already given us a lot more information than our last guy did. And I'm not here to take clients from other people, but at the same time, I think we can be different by doing the right thing, which is, we talked a little bit about that on the phone. And if you think about that statement, I'm just going to say it again, being different by doing the right thing is a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's very real, and it's all industry,
Yeah.
in all industry, and in life,
You see it as
frankly,
well.
in life.
Absolutely.
Just the day-to-day interaction with your neighbor.
Did you give the third?
Win with people.
Yeah.
Win with people.
Okay.
That's more internal. That's me, like, making sure that my people, so the love and the transparency obviously are internal as well, but then for me, again, I was never the smartest guy, and I'm not here to I'm not here to self-deprecate, but at the end of the day, I have won with the people that I've been around and
Yeah.
put around me.
Absolutely.
The one thing that, like I said, that I haven't met anybody that will do better than me is dream. Yeah. That's it's a blessing and a curse sometimes.
The discuss.
It's a blessing and a curse. Yeah, it really is.
So, as you were talking about the radical transparency, one of the things that just stands out in my mind is that, more and more today, people want to know how the sausage is made. That old saying that
Yeah,
people
no
don't
doubt.
want to know, they just want to enjoy. So, talk to me a little bit more about that. I know we talked a little bit about fees, but when advising, I guess I'm viewing this now through the lens of where we are today, where the market
Oh, wow,
is
yeah.
today. So, that radical transparency, what do you find?
Yeah, fundamentally, there's no secret in this old phrase that said, when everybody else gets scared, that's the time to get greedy.
Yeah.
Greedy. And whenever everyone else is getting greedy, that's probably the time to be scared.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fundamental kind of Warren Buffett thing, but at the end of the day, it's very, very true. So I think what it comes back to is constant communication with the clients. You have to be in touch with your clients
Now more than ever.
now more than ever. And candidly, for the last 10 plus years, people have been getting these amazing rates of return without doing anything. Really, you could throw a dart and get a good rate of return.
Sure.
Just based on positive economic factors. So clients didn't feel that they really needed their advisors as much. So we would call for reviews, and it was kind of like, yeah, we're good, we got it. But then when the market starts to do what it's been doing, they're calling us like,
Guess
hey,
what?
because I really want that review.
Yeah.
It's not on fire till it's on fire, right? So that's been something. So that transparency piece is just making sure. I like to do something that I do personally, and the people that I coach, that I get fortunate enough to coach, we bring the future to the present.
Okay.
When we're talking with a client. So if I was meeting with you, I'd say, hey, Scott, here's what we're putting in play. When the market goes down and you're freaking out and you call me, maybe you're upset with me, you're just disappointed, upset.
You're already building this.
Oh, I say this at the beginning.
Okay.
I would ask you, so what should I say to you?
How do I talk you down?
How do I talk you down? What should I say?
Yeah.
And typically that's, you'll tell me. That's when you're going to be the most honest, because it's not in the moment.
Right.
And that's one of the most important notes I have
No kidding.
in a fact finder is,
that's a good.
what should I, because I'll ask you, tell me how should I handle this? And everybody says, oh, you got to remind me, be hard on me, be hard. I use it in accountability with my kids.
Yeah.
Hey, if this happens, what do you want me to do? Oh, you should punish me, ground me, take my phone, whatever.
Wow.
Because everybody's really honest when it's not happening.
Yeah.
But then if you can remind them, and so that's something, and again, it's just kind of building that upfront contract, if you will, the upfront agreement. So I think that's transparency.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's kind of in action. So
But it's both ways.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're almost asking for transparency from the people who you're working with. To say,
No doubt.
"Listen."
Well, it has to be both ways,
Yeah.
right? So that's honestly, it's kind of like we show that we're first with the transparency and expectation. We expect the return, the same kind of, listen, people talking about finances and risk and all that. It's kind of like, when you go to the doctor and you gotta undress, it's uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing. We call you're undressing financially.
That's a great analogy.
I mean, there's nobody that gets super comfortable when they're in the doctor and they have to. I mean,
Yeah.
It's same thing if you really get into a person's plan, and that also helps us from being too transactional. I'll be the first to admit there's a certain element of business that there's some transaction that gets done. When I was new in the industry, starting out, hustling, having 20, 25 meetings a week selling life insurance. So there was some transaction involved.
Absolutely.
Ideally, we could get to the point where we're actually solving a problem, and we'll meet with clients sometimes today that will say, hey, I know what I want. This is what I want. And I have a kind of straddle the fence on this. Fundamentally, I really want to make sure that we're covered so that we at least talk about everything.
Sure.
But if someone's adamant and they really just want us to take their order, we can do that.
Yeah.
It's not our ideal client, but we will.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the plan, though, in the back of our minds, we're like, okay, we'll take the order now.
Yeah.
And then we'll build on this thing.
Absolutely. Well, I think, an old adage in sales, there's no better time to, you know, grow someone than when you're already doing business.
Yeah.
And, once you start to build that trust.
Totally. I had an old manager, boss, whatever you want to call him, early in the business. He said, nothing says I trust you like handing over a check.
Agree.
And whether that's a check for $20 or a check for $20,000, so that's kind of an important thing. I mean, I also have a fundamental belief that like we can't make people do something, even if we see that what we're positioning is
Painful is that when you know that it's
it's painful.
I'm telling you, you're doing the wrong thing.
Doing the wrong thing, or you could do better if you did this, right? But I one of my favorite phrases is when I'm talking to a client, if we're in that weird place where it feels like maybe they're avoiding, or they're not quite a client, maybe they're a prospect. I love the phrase, hey, is this a slow yes or a slow no?
Wow.
Because maybe just doesn't do it for us. We can't. You're not getting anywhere, or maybe I'm not getting anywhere, maybe. And then I might, if I feel comfortable enough, I might follow it up with, the phrase "no" is my second favorite answer.
Sure. Absolutely.
Let's just get to a no. If it's a no, it's fine.
That purgatory is the part who's going.
Yeah,
agree.
And there's a certain level of relationship that you have to have with somebody to be able to say that without them being, offended. But I just kind of chuckle. Hey, no is my second favorite answer. It's okay, and people they're not used to that either.
Oh, one of the things that I found, much like you, I cut my teeth in sales before this role, and one of the things that I would always tell, it's okay to tell me no.
Always, yeah.
Give someone permission to actually tell you no. I mean, I would much rather have a definitive. Of course, I prefer yes.
Oh yeah.
But I'd rather have a definitive than for us to say.
Yeah, it's my second favorite answer.
Yeah.
We tell people part of something that I was taught early was early in the meeting when we're first breaking the ice, is to say, hey, there's a possibility that we might not be a fit to work together. You might not be a fit for me, or I might not be a fit for you. Let's agree now that if that ever happens, we'll tell each other.
Absolutely.
And get that on the table. And once you've done that, sometimes people forget. You might have to remind them, because, if you go a few weeks and then they're not calling you back or something like that, it could be, you have to remind them like, hey, remember we said if it's not a fit? And I feel like you might be trying to tell me something and you're just not sure how to say it.
Sure.
Something like that. But that to me all comes back to transparency, and we don't have it completely perfected, but that's what keeps us going.
But that's the aspiration. I think that really does support all three of the pillars that you mentioned, because I think that you build that love, that relationship with someone, so that again, they feel comfortable saying, I love you.
Yeah, the lead with love is really something that it's so funny, because when I first had that idea of incorporating it into our kind of 3-part mission, I was like, no, I'm not gonna say it. I'll feel it, but I'm not gonna say it.
Because I meet with a lot of people, and I got to be honest, when they're giving me the 3, love is not usually, has never.
Well, and I hesitated because it could be, some people might listen to that and say, oh, well, whatever, it's a soft or weak, or I know myself.
Sure.
If that's soft or weak, I'm gonna get business done. And if it doesn't resonate with somebody, then good news. That just means we're not a fit to work together. So all good.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason I can have that approach now is because of I haven't always been able to have that approach. It used to be like, I need this client, and everybody goes through that process, I think.
Desperation.
Yeah. And so I feel maybe a little bit like I'm sharing it, like it's just so easy, like lead with love. It's not, because you do have to pay your dues and go through and grind, and in any industry.
Absolutely.
Not just ours, but
it's applicable to all. I when you told me that, when we had,
you're like, well, okay, wow.
I thought, like I said, I talk with a lot of business folks throughout the state, and that is the first time that someone that's the first thing you said too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I'm ending with that and it's a throw in. You
Oh
said,
no, once I went all in on it, I'm all the way in on
yeah,
it. Now you can, I mean, it's at the top of the list.
yeah,
And I will talk to anybody for as long as they want to talk to about that.
yeah.
I just believe, I think I'm not, this isn't a political statement, nothing political
No,
about it, just the world, everything needs more love.
what the world needs now.
It's been going on forever,
Yeah.
right? People say it, and it is. Maybe I'm just late to the party, and this has
Yeah.
been how it's been the whole time, and I'm just really figuring it out. But I really think that should be at the front of all of it.
Yeah.
Just leave it love.
Well, and I think the message is resonating because obviously since you started Hudnall Capital Advisors,
Yeah,
you've seen dramatic growth. I mean,
it's been pretty wild.
what do you attribute that to? Talk to me a little bit about that. What's
Um, just relentless commitment to the vision.
okay?
I mean, honestly, is that's broad, and I realize. I mean, I could get into tactical stuff with you. That's there are far better money managers in the world. I mean, I'm not. I am a relationship guy. I bring really good money managers and people around me so that they can hit the X's and the O's. But the just relentless commitment and not wavering on what the vision is, and the vision is, well, we've kind of talked about it. The vision is this kind of disruption of the industry. I think that the industry needs it, and the people that I've talked to all agree.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a
Peers.
respective advisor,
Right.
whether that's a conversation about having them partner with us,
Yeah.
or just talking to people in other, that are considering joining us, but just I'll ask in the form of a question, is like, don't you think the industry needs a little more transparency, a little bit of love? So that really is and again, might not be what you're looking for, that high level, relentless commitment to the vision, and then the people.
Yeah.
So I've got, I'll give a shout out to this young man who is, he's my number one guy right now. His name is Sean Broskoff. He's a young guy. He came from the College of Charleston. I've got great people, and I don't want to. I say number one. They're everybody in my world is a top guy. They're all number one. But he's young. He's 23, just out of the College of Charleston. He was the captain of the sailing team. He has been working with heart, unlike anything I've ever seen in myself or anyone else.
Demonstrating the love.
Just love, but just heart and grit.
Yeah.
Grit. Like he's talented enough to go get a job where someone would pay him 6 figures salary, and he'd punch the clock and be fine. But he has really stayed totally true to what he wants, and he's really bought into me. Which, frankly, the more someone does that, the more I need to show up.
Yeah.
So I'm not the guy who gets the accolade and then sits back and goes, "Oh, cool." So I got that. It's more like, "Oh crap, I better."
It's a different pressure when you become the member.
Better now. I got to deliver.
Oh,
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, so people that has had a lot to do with our success.
Yeah.
He has been a spokesperson for Hudnall Capital, and in a way that you can pick. There's no dollar amount that would pay for that kind of just belief.
Yeah.
Belief. And that's something you can't teach. You can't teach somebody to believe.
No.
You can give them examples and influence them a little bit, but you can't teach him. And he believes. So the other big part, I will say, just this is the more standard answers. We have invested a lot in our marketing.
Yeah.
Anybody who thinks that's some of it you can't quantify.
Right.
I mean, if you put a billboard up, how do you know how much a billboard? The reason you put a billboard up is so someone goes, "Hey man, I saw your billboard."
Yeah.
It's not like I could go, "Oh, that billboard generated this in
It's the
revenue."
number of dollars.
And I think anyone who tries to use that type of marketing to quantify, they're just going to go crazy. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But really getting the name out proudly.
Yeah.
I have a very unique situation. So my former wife, I don't like the term ex-wife. My former wife is my chief operations officer.
When you told me that,
Yeah,
blew my
it's
mind.
pretty wild. She's amazing woman. We were married for 10 years. And we were young when we got married, and I was in the band. I was playing in the band. We met backstage at a show. It was a funny story there. We both remarried. She's married to a guy that I just admire greatly. He's a great stepfather to my kids. And then my wife, everybody, I mean, we travel together. I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, I can tell stories that people are like, what the heck? But it's really special. So that has a lot to do
Sure.
with our success.
Oh yeah.
Because we're all fighting for each other. Nobody wants to, I mean, we're not going to let someone slip.
Right.
And right now it's small enough to do that. But I think that if things go the way I want them to, and think they will, we will not have to sacrifice that as we grow. I mean, I have a vision of being a mega firm.
Yeah. Talk more about that vision. Where do you see this going?
And I can say, I hesitate because some people might say, yeah, right, it's crazy. I mean, the sky's the limit, man. I really believe we can go, when we're sending out press releases and stuff about what we're up to in the formation of Hudnall Capital, and some of the people that are helping us, the agencies that are helping us, like, well, where do you want to send it? And of course they assume we're going to go local and regional.
Absolutely.
I'm like, let's send it to
go big.
Send it to the Today Show. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
They need to hear about this too.
Absolutely.
Somebody, I think, could latch on to this idea. The key factor, this is what I keep coming back to because it makes me slightly nervous, but it's not anxiety, it's excitement nervous.
Okay.
And that is, we got to deliver.
Oh yeah.
Because, the more we say it, the more we have to do it. Because credibility it takes a lot of time to build it and a little time to lose it. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, I have this term, and it is an original. A lot of my phrases, I always credit who gave them to me, but this one's mine. It's like, I call it the back door to self-accountability.
Okay.
The back door to self-accountability is if I sit here and tell you over and over and over how we're going to lead with love, be radically transparent, we're going to all these things, and then I slip up even once. So I'm almost holding myself accountable, selfishly even a little bit, by saying it to you and saying it to your audience, because I'm putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Put myself out there to be called out.
If you do not see me,
correct.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And here's my disclaimer. We've all made mistakes in the past. So part of the reason I'm so adamant about it now is because of some of my own mistakes.
Sure.
So it's not like I'm immune.
Oh.
I have made probably more than most.
Yeah.
And I think it's better. I think I'm one of these people that you could show me the right way to do thing a million times, and I might not get it right. But if you show me the wrong way once, I'll be sure not to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's from myself, but also from watching others. We've seen a lot of people in the industry. I mean, our industry, there's an automatic speculation.
Sure.
That comes back to this transparency thing. People automatically not assume, but there's this chance that this guy could rip us off.
A layer of suspicion right off
just in the industry.
Yeah.
And because it's happened
right.
over and over and over. Look at Brian Madoff. Look at these things. And those things happen because people get overly greedy and they get away with something once. And then it's like, ooh, that was easy. So that to me is part of the deal. We try to minimize any of that automatic suspicion that people are just going to have naturally. Listen, I would have it.
Sure.
I would have it if,
Well, and I think, again, those 3 pillars, I'm going back to that.
Yeah, please.
I find that's going to automatically, it's so refreshing. And like you said, so radical to be transparent, and it's so refreshing to give the love. And obviously you're surrounding yourself with great people. That's going to start to take that guard that people have.
Hopefully. And I want to do that not just for our clients.
Sure.
I think we could that's the disruption of the industry. I'm not trying to corner the industry.
Right.
I just hope more people will latch onto it and start doing it in their own
new
firms.
A new level set.
Yeah. And it's funny, the first time I said those words, I think we can disrupt the industry. I was talking to my mother.
Yeah.
She's my biggest champion of all. She's my mom. And she said, she chuckled. She said, "Oh, son, don't you think you might seem a little too big for your britches?" And that's how she talks. And I said, that's exactly why I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody's tried. Nobody's tried.
They're going to blaze that trail.
That's the thing. And I mean, listen, I might not be the one to do it, but I might inspire someone to do it. Right. But that's the plan.
With your entrepreneurial spirit here that you've already demonstrated, I think that you're well on your way to that.
Well, I appreciate it. I think we are. Listen, we're very fortunate. I had as a young entrepreneur, not kid pushing the lawnmower, but getting into business, started making a few bucks. I had this really probably unattractive quality of just had to win,
At all
win
costs.
at all costs.
Yeah.
If that meant pushing someone down to get a little ahead, win. And to me, I was defining that by income
Yep.
and results.
Sure.
And through some life experience, a couple of health scares, things like that. Not to go into too much detail there, but it became really apparent that what is winning?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a relevant thing.
So
Is it?
so I had this one lovely business coach. She was my first ever business coach, and she said when I was talking to her about I just want to get to the top. I want to get to the top.
Yeah.
And she said, "What's the top?" And I was like,
Oh no.
I'm like, what? There is no top. And then shortly after that, I went through a kind of a life experience that molded that even more. And I was like, everything shifted. I was, like I said, I was probably pretty unattractive. I mean, I would be first in the office just that I could say I was first in the office, and then last to leave just so that I could say I was last to leave. And in the meantime, my little boys at home wonder where daddy is.
Oh yeah.
And so it was a pretty massive shift, and it happened pretty quickly. And I'm so grateful that it did. You know what I mean? That's that gratitude piece. And I used to say, and actually speaking of billboards, we had a billboard that said, all it said was gratitude makes life better.
Wow.
I spent thousands of dollars on this billboard at the bottom of the Ravenel Bridge, and that's all it said. Gratitude makes life better. And it was right around the holidays. It was not by design. It just kind of fell that way. And it picked up a lot of, it wasn't a sales pitch. Obviously, there's no sales pitch. Didn't have anything about the company or a phone number to call or a brand. It just said, it was just this little passion thing that I had about gratitude makes life better. And it picked up a lot. It got talked about a lot. It got talked about, they had no idea who it was that I had done that. It wasn't even a firm message. It wasn't even like a business message. It was just something that I was in my feels. There's that woo-woo thing, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of in my feels about that at that time. And I was like, I'm gonna get this message out, and if someone disagrees with that, then maybe they're not a good fit. You know what I mean? I don't really want to hang out with that person.
Questions.
I don't want to hang. Right.
Yeah.
Nobody can disagree with that. And
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in a world where everything is a sales pitch or a political statement, or there's to see something like that was, I think, refreshing. And a local church, the pastor did a sermon on it.
Wow.
Based on the billboard. It was really cool. But didn't know. I mean, it didn't come back to me. And I didn't care.
You heard about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Well, you're a Charleston guy. You're
Yep.
College of Charleston.
Yeah. Not born here, so I can't call myself a native. That's the weird. But I've been here for 30 plus of my 48 years. Yeah, so it's definitely home.
Yeah.
College of Charleston. I took my time at the College of Charleston, and lived on Folly Beach and had a lot of fun in college, and I met some of my best friends, and I tried to leave a couple times. I moved to San Diego for a year and a half with Shannon, my former wife.
Chief operating officer.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And we realized when we got out there, that was the time I learned the lesson. You don't move to where you vacation. People do it all the time. We see it in Charleston a lot. People come here and they're like, oh, well, I just love Charleston. And they move here. And they're like, oh, crap, I got to go to work.
There's that whole employment.
Yeah. Right. And so, but it was cool. It was a great place to live. But the reason I mentioned San Diego is because I think arguably it's probably one of the nicest places in the country to live.
Oh, yeah.
But I still came back to Charleston.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's what my point is that Charleston is home. And I've said before, all my roads lead back to Charleston.
Absolutely.
My parents are here. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Charleston, obviously, we not getting too deep into that, but from my perspective, I'm joking because I moved here from the place that a ton of people go to retire and vacation, Florida. St. Augustine.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
But we vacationed up here, and I am that exception to we love it.
You love it, and you're working and you're good. So for me, when I say you don't move to where you vacation is, unless you've got the a job or like I went out there, it's like, hey, someone just hire me, and I would go to work at 8:59 and leave at 4:59. You know, it was just punch the clock.
We
That's all.
qualified this to your point. I
Yeah.
think this was a place
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's like you look at the community, a sense of community, and that's really where I was kind of going with this was, you know, you obviously have goals for the firm
Mhm.
and a vision of where you're going to be, in
Yep.
the coming years. And I have no doubt that you'll get there. But you don't limit it to just the scope of what your firm is doing. You're
Right.
involved in different philanthropies and getting involved in the community.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I learned from mentors, and uh, I'll cut to another question real quick. I'm going to come back to philanthropy, but one of the things you keep hearing me mention mentors. And
Sure. Yeah.
I was asked recently, if you go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be? Mentors, have mentors, find mentors. It's not less is more in that world. More is more. And so I have been fortunate to have really good mentors, and one of them was the leader of the firm that I retired from
Okay.
prior to
In
me.
2024.
Yeah, correct. So, and he was really, really good about making sure that he was in the community without it being a firm, like, so there's three ways to give, right? There's time, there's talent, and there's treasure.
Right.
And time, obvious. Talent, obvious. Treasure, that's writing a check.
Yeah.
And we've all been guilty. If we find a charity or a nonprofit we like, we write a check.
Absolutely.
I'm working really hard on getting better at doing the time and the talent. So yeah, locally, is it okay if I name specific
By all means.
organizations? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
the First Tee, it's
Golfing.
people say it's a golf charity. That's right. It's a golf organization. I went to one of their events like 15 years ago. Ironically, it's the first time I met my now wife socially. She was married to somebody. I was married to Shannon, but that's the kind of irony of that story. And I went to this event. I'd never heard of it. I got invited last minute. It was a Friday night, and it was their annual gala that they do.
Yeah.
And it just touched me. One, I like golf. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. And two, this was more about what it was doing for these kids.
Oh yeah.
And so it's not even about the golf. Golf is I'd say a very small part of it.
It's a tool to deliver other messages.
What they would call the values of
Correct.
golf, right? Courage, honesty, integrity. I could go on. And so that's something that's been lock stock. I've been with them as a legacy partner, if you will, for a very long time, both with my prior firm and now shifted to Hudnall Capital. I love what they do. The executive director here locally is a superstar. It just oozes charisma, and he builds a great team. His team is awesome. He's one of those guys. He'll be the first to say he couldn't do it without them. And yeah, so the First Tee has been in the growth. So I went through. I started out as just kind of a check writer.
Yeah.
And then I sat on the board. I think I did. I think they had 3-year board terms, maybe 2 or 3, and then
So at that point, you're donating treasure and time.
right. So that was the board of directors, they called it, and then after that, there's a board of advisors, and that's more of, I think, a title letterhead thing. I mean, still very involved,
Absolutely.
and I still have my legacy sponsorship, but I had paid my dues on the board. But the point I'm making is, when I was on the board, we met, we got things done, we raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
Today, I don't know if I wouldn't be good enough for that board. They are awesome. It's a well-oiled machine.
They scaled that
They
up.
scaled it up big time, and it's showing. I mean, in a lot of their projects upcoming, I don't want to speak too much on them because I'm not sure if I can, but they've got some awesome things coming ahead with really putting their stamp on Charleston in terms of infrastructure, even, and opportunity for kids and people to get involved. So that's been cool. That's fun. And I've always said that, if I definitely have a soft heart for children that don't have a choice as to how they got in their circumstance. Not to blame any parents or anything. A lot of times, I gotta be careful. I don't want to sound cold, but adults that find themselves in the straits, a lot of times it's a decision that they made somewhere along the way. Kids,
They controlled their own destiny.
they kind of controlled, or maybe
Yeah.
they made a mistake, and they probably, they shouldn't be judged for that. But children who are born into or something, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And so we could do things to help them and get them just taught. For me, these kids are learning about looking people in the eye.
Yeah.
And giving firm handshakes,
Yeah.
the stuff that will take them, in my opinion, much farther than a 4.0 GPA.
Sure.
Or these days it's a 5.0. I think I don't know, but um, I've always believed that those life skills are much more important. And so that to me is a big deal. So and there's others.
That also feeds into the mentorship idea as well.
Yeah.
I know that, First Tee, obviously,
Oh, that's what it's all
I
about.
mean, really, again, there's a theme here that I've
Mhm.
seen there. You've been blessed to have some wonderful mentors back in the day,
Yeah,
and then
and to
you're
this day,
shifting to a mentorship.
yeah,
You-
it's cool. I'm starting to realize I've had a couple guys that I was on the golf course recently with a guy. He's 30, very successful, 30 years old. And he's had really, really good success at 30. And he's like, man, I heard him introduce me to someone as his mentor. And I was like,
That's
wow,
the
that's
best.
cool.
And you didn't really, he had never really indicated.
I'd never heard like that. I mean, I guess,
This isn't like asking proposal. Will you
yeah,
be my mentor?
right. But
Yeah.
he introduced me
Yeah.
as that. And that was really cool. And again, that to me, that puts, it's very cool and it's an honor, but it puts a little bit of pressure too.
Oh yeah.
So
Show
you
up.
got to show up, right? Exactly. I've also started to get involved recently in the arts community here. There's a really
Thrives.
big push for the younger generation, not children, but young adults getting into the art scene, like the classic, so all of the arts, but like the Gibbs Art Museum, for example, is used to be for me growing up. It was this kind of staunchy, if my parents were going to the Gibbs, it was a conservative, staunchy thing, and now it's like they're really branching out. So where Hudnall Capital is partnered with them on some cool things too.
Very cool.
Yes,
So you're giving back to the community, showing that love to the community.
trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to. Yeah.
What else would you want us to know about Hudnall Capital Advisors?
Huh. I mean, I would just say that anyone who thinks that it's cliche to say, but the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
There does not need to be. I had a conversation just yesterday with a young lady. She was embarrassed to tell me that she's like, I haven't done any planning. And the number of people that sit down with
Could you give
us,
us an age range?
she's 40.
Okay.
She's 40 years old, and
Okay.
she's like, I said, and she does well. She makes good money, and
Sure.
she said, she's like, I got a 401k, and I'm embarrassed. I don't have. I'm probably not a good prospect for you. And I hear that a lot.
People disqualified themselves.
They say that, oh well, I don't. I'd hire you. I hear people say, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a financial advisor. They say, well, I'd hire you if I had any money. And I jokingly say, well, if you hire me, you won't ever have to say that again. You know what I mean? But the sky's the limit. Like, don't sell yourself short. It's never too late to stop. To start, excuse me. Hudnall Capital is here for every. We've got clients that are worth $100 million and more.
Sure.
We've got clients that have negative net worth.
Wow.
But they have the desire and the heart to want to do something. So we can't make a client want to plan.
Aspire to,
Yeah, if they have to want to do it themselves. I mean, we can try to create a little bit of pain, but we want the people that come to us with the pain and say, hey, we want you to fix it. And frankly, the reward that comes from a client that has negative net worth versus, for me, I mean, financial reward is one thing,
Sure.
obviously, but those are the people that I love. I actually take
There's
those
that
clients
feeling.
on myself.
Yeah.
And in full disclosure, I don't do a ton of personal planning as much anymore, just
Sure.
because leadership has been the focus.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to doing more of it since Hudnall Capital.
Sure.
Prior, it was really all about recruit, build, lead, and now at Hudnall Capital, I'm definitely doing more. But I've got, I mean, Sean, for example, he works circles around me when it
Sure.
comes to the actual
Actual
X's and
plan.
O's. Yeah. And I have no shame in admitting that. No problem with that. That back to my point. Hire people better than me. I've always said I'll be the best recruiter in the room. So, but that would be it. The sky's the limit. Like, don't stop, because I think too many human beings, and this isn't just Hudnall Capital. This isn't just my business. We think so much about what we don't want, what we don't have, and what we're scared of. If we just switch it, let's change that thought. What we do want, what we do have, and what we're excited about. That to me is fundamental to happiness. And I get the chills when I say this, because we have 90,000 thoughts per day. as human beings. We have 90,000 thoughts. 70,000 of those thoughts are the same ones we had yesterday. And the majority of them are about things we don't want, scared of, don't have.
Yeah.
And it's natural. It's not that we're pessimistic people.
Sure.
It's fear. It's fear or negative self-talk. That's a big one. People are always, even the most confident people you see have some type of self-doubt. And that's where they go.
That internal dialogue.
Yeah, and it's way easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, that business coach that I referred to earlier, my first one, she had this idea of just being ultra present, and that's a overused thing. Stay in the present, stay in the present. We hear that a lot.
Sure.
But she took it to the next level, and she would say, "Hey, Ry, when was the last time you took a shower?" And I was like, "This morning." "What do you mean?" And she's like, "No. That you actually stopped to feel the way the water touched your skin, and like really were in that moment." And because we're usually thinking about something, it's tough. So I do believe that in business and life and raising kids, and if we just try to, it's hard work to switch our thought to the opposite, thought in that moment, and it changes everything.
It does.
It absolutely changes everything. Another thing that I've been on lately, and I won't bore you too much with this, is like, I got a 15-year-old son. And, he's just a 15-year-old. He wants to do this, he wants to do that. His grades go from really bad to really good, but he'll be the first to say, I was just lazy, Dad. Of course, you go through the struggles, like, is he having a problem learning it? Is there's an issue there? No, just lazy. And so
that's a self-awareness I didn't have at 15. I can tell.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, he's also he's smooth, right? So he knows what to say to Dad, because he knows how Dad operates.
Okay.
But my thing with him now, and it's perfect because Shannon and I have these counter parenting. She's very good at kind of disciplining, and she's like, "Hey, he shouldn't have his phone. Like right now, he's got to do his homework." But when he comes to my house, I'm like, "Hey, dude, should you have your phone?
Oh, wow.
Do you think you should have your phone?"
I love it.
And he's like, "No." And so I'm on this shift of like, are you proud of you? Because I have been through phases where I'm just not proud of myself.
Sure.
And nobody would see it.
Yeah.
It's not reflected in how I go about my day-to-day with you and with anybody. But really the ultimate happiness for me is if you can really, truly be proud of yourself. So I use that with my son. I use that for my clients, right? As my daughter, she's too proud of herself, right? But she's 10, so I'm terrified of my daughter, to be honest. But as I should be, I think.
I was going to say,
yeah. But I think the being proud of yourself. Are you proud of yourself for what you've done in your business and your life? And so we use that for our clients. And so really trying to manage the inspiration more than the wealth. So that's a big part.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, you make it easy, man.
And thank you.
Thank you.
For taking some time, and continued success.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity a lot, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.